Today, Twitchies, we are going to be talking about the top 5 mid laners. That is the top 5 mid laners that have been going down the mid lane and bringing the elo their way. So go ahead and hit that like button, comment down below what you think the top 5 is going to be. Hint, hint, there's a hunter in here, and let's get to this Twitching video. Incon's top 5 mid lane edition. Number 5. Making the list at number 5, it is going to be Kronos. Kronos has come back into the meta quite a bit since the book builds have been coming our way for 2 big reasons. One, Kronos is obviously a very good Polynomicon procer in this book build meta. Has a stupid amount of magical power in it. It is not uncommon at all to see mages get over 1,000 magical power, particularly at the end of the game, especially if you have red buff, fire giant, a power pot, etc. Not hard at all. Kronos, of course, has that built-in magical power on his passive. The longer a game goes, the more power he is gonna get. And because the STL games on average have been around 30 minutes, it means he's got plenty of time to get a solid amount of power going for those poly procs. On top of that, the other side of the Book of the Dead build is, of course, the bonus shield that you get when you're low HP. So one of the historic ways to counter Kronos is to burst him down really quickly, immediately, before he can get his ultimate off. Well, as it turns out, it's real hard to do that when he's got a bonus 600 HP shield every time he actually gets low. So every time you get low and you need to pop your ultimate, you get a bonus 600 HP shield to keep you alive, meaning it all but guarantees the fact that your ultimate is going to go off, which means you have to fight Kronos twice every single fight, no matter what. The option to just one-shot him and burn him isn't really there anymore, which has moved his strength up immensely, guys, and that is why Kronos is number 5 on the top 5 mages in the STL. Number 4. Moving on to number 4 on our list, it's gonna be the Morrigan. Now, Morrigan does have a little bit of that Kronos syndrome for why she is doing good right now, and that is, of course, because she works so well with Polynomicon. Are you noticing a theme going on here with this list right now? Polynomicon, with it being so good on those auto attack procs, and with Morrigan being such a natural user of the Polynomicon with her 2 auto 1 combo or the 1 auto 2 combo, either way, depending on if you're coming out of stealth or not, it is no surprise that she is currently enjoying this meta, especially with how much raw power is in it. The ability for her to one-shot from stealth has never been stronger. But on top of that right now, there's a lot of other gods that are good in the meta that pair really well with Morrigan. Gods like Hunmats and Camazotz. Hunmats provides you with basically an unbeatable team fight going with 2 Hunmats ultis. 2 Fear No Evils basically means you guaranteed win a team fight, and he is a fantastic jungler right now. We're seeing Camazotz pop up in the jungle and also in the solo lane, and he's an extremely safe character to turn into ever since he got that buff to his ultimate, which means you can fly away and you don't have any problems whatsoever. And of course, he is also a fantastic brawler. And one of the things that's important for Morrigan is you have to remember the people that you're turning into, you're leveling up their abilities how your abilities are leveled. So if you've got 5 points in your 2 and you transfer yourself into somebody who you don't like to use their second ability, aka a Raven, you've leveled his overhead kick instead of one of his better abilities. So turning into Camazotz, where you get to go for a giant burst damage and healing, going for Hunmats where you get the overhand smash, those kind of gods work really well with her, and those gods are really good in the meta right now, which has brought Morrigan up to number 4. Number 3. There's a twist in the list. Our number 3 mid laner right now is actually going to be Neeth. So Neeth is a little bit, I would say, unexpected in this list, but the idea of a hunter in the mid lane is not. At all levels of gameplay throughout all seasons of Smite, Hunters in the mid lane has been one of those things that kind of comes and goes. Every once in a while, they even actually become the main part of the meta. But right now, there's just a couple of hunters that are finding themselves played in the mid lane, particularly Neeth and AMC are finding themselves played a lot. You're actually seeing a lot of SPL at higher pro level of gameplay, and Neeth, of course, has always been a favorite for all levels of Smite gameplay, and she works really well with that big power style of build. Now, because items like Crusher are really good right now for basically all hunters, because you get that bleed damage, it pairs really well with Neeth. In the mid lane, you can actually get away with going the blue stone, which allows you to have another bleed on top of that in the early game, and Fail Not Right Now to help get crit in your build is a really good item that you should be running on more hunters. Its base stats are absolutely insane, and any hunter that has a CC attached to their ultimate, aka Neeths and Danzas of the world, means that you ulti a target, you give yourself bonus crit chance, and then you're auto attacking a target that can't move. So their chances are you're going to land your auto attacks. You got to land your auto attacks in order to get those crits to work, guys. And that is why Neeth is our number 3 mid laner for the Smite Twitchy League. Number 2. Immunity framing her way into the top 2, it is going to be Discordia. Discordia is perpetually one of the most underrated mages in the game, I would say. And I think she often is a afterthought for a lot of players, particularly in a recent meta that we've been in, which for such a long time now, we've been in a meta where you had to play a quote-unquote safe mid laner, somebody that's got some type of getaway skill, like a leap. You saw a lot of Ryzen for a long time, something of that sort, because the junglers are coming to the mid lane so fast, they're ganking so fast, and so you have to have lane clear and you have to have some sort of good escape. Well, Discordia actually has all of those things. She's got CC immunity on her ultimate, which is fantastic. She's got a small leap, which does allow her to get over small walls, including player-made walls like Ymir and Odin and Kabrakan, and it's an immunity frame, which means that it can avoid abilities entirely. Ra ult, Poseidon ult, Cilla ult, doesn't matter. It can avoid them entirely by being in the animation while it's going off. And invulnerability frames are crazy strong in Smite. Sometimes they're just a little bit harder to use though. Think Chang'e and Raven, exact same concept for that Discordia 3. On top of that, pretty much all of her abilities can be fired through and over walls, which means you can get all of that poke out. All you have to worry about is getting your golden apple, which can bounce itself right into the jungle and get the damage off that way. So Discordia, with her ability to be surprisingly hard to kill, because of her CC immunity, because her immunity frames, and of course, her ability to help the character on your team that is snowballing snowball even harder. We saw this over in the solo lane video with Nike, same concept. Somebody on your team is probably winning their lane. If they're winning their lane a little bit right now in Smite, they're probably winning their lane a lot of bit, which means that giving that extra damage out to whoever it is, your hunter, your solo lane, or whatever, is just going to help them snowball out of control even more in their lane and help bring your team to victory. Now, if you want to help bring your team to victory in the Smite Twitchy League, I'm going to help you learn about how you can come and join in January. All of this information, of course, comes from our wonderful subscriber league over on Twitch, guys. And for January, through your help with things like mobile downloads reaching those goals, we've got over $1,500 in cash and prizes for the Twitchiest community in the month of January, as long as you play in the Smite Twitchy League. Our prizing structure is set up so that it's participation based. As long as you play in the Smite Twitchy League, you have a chance to win those prizes. You don't have to be at the top of the leaderboard in order to win. You just have to play a couple of matches. As long as you've played 5 matches throughout the entire month, you'll be eligible to win all of the rewards, guys. So go ahead and make sure you join the community Discord and you're subscribed on Twitch. Connect those 2 accounts together and you'll be able to see the passwords when the games get made. Games are played mornings, afternoons, evenings, weekends, weekdays, all platforms, all regions, all skill levels are welcome, and I hope to see you in the Smite Twitchy League. Number 1. Number 1 on the list. Who else but Cilla, guys? Cilla continues her reign of terror in the mid lane as she takes that #1 spot again. Cilla, of course, no stranger to the Polynomicon, no stranger to these Book of Dead builds that are going around in the mid lane. Also has a good time with various other builds. She's not a super build restricted god. If flat pen's in the meta, Cilla's like, cool, flat pen's in the meta, I can make that work. I'll get my Spear of Desolations, my Divine Ruins, which are pretty good right now, call it a day. If big old power builds are in the meta and you need to go a Book of the Dead and a Rada Tahuti and all those big items, she goes, fantastic, I love it, I'll call it a day. She doesn't really mind the build, but she does love when Poly is in the meta because she has one of the easiest, best combos in Smite with that Polynomicon. All you simply have to do is throw out your root, then they are stuck because they are rooted and crippled. So then you throw a crush right on top of them, you auto attack them, pop your crush, and at the end stages of the game, that combo will kill a squishy every single time. In fact, they might have died from the root and the auto attack before the crush ever went off. On top of that, of course, you have her ultimate being able to reset, which means that she has one of the highest carry potentials of really any mid laner in the game. Her one kind of deficit is you do have to be a little bit careful in the early stages of the game. She's not the best level like 1-2 fighter out of the mid lane, and sometimes that can happen. There can be a little brawl with the enemy jungler in the mid lane as you fight over mid camps. If you have to give up the mid camps, just go for it. It's not a big deal. I almost guarantee you're going to scale harder than their enemy mid laner, so it doesn't mind losing just a little bit of XP early to guarantee that you don't get snowballed on or something, guys. And that is why Cilla is the #1 mage yet again. Cilla will once again be taking that top spot amongst the top 5 mid laners in the Smite Twitchy League, and she does it with relative ease, having almost twice the amount of elo of the next god below her, guys. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Cilla is one of the most hyper carry of hyper carry mages, which means that you're going to have opportunities for all skill levels of players in order to make plays happen with her. Even if you're at a lower end skill level, she still has that same amount of carry potential. And to be fair, her circles are kind of huge and even bigger than they technically say they are. Shock. So on top of that, she scales really well up into the high level gameplay as well, where her abilities still remain really strong, and she has worked so well with the current book builds because of the way that she, of course, procs that Polynomicon, Blink, Cilla 1, 2, and an auto attack. Like 2,000 plus damage on everybody that you're attacking. Even tanks are going to get wrecked by that combo, and you don't even need your ultimate. Honorable mention as well to the one god that didn't make the list that was close, and that was Poseidon. Poseidon has been seeing a lot more play. You know, he got a little bit of that shift where he's got a little bit like less mana cost, and he uses less tide and kind of stuff like that. Kind of those like tertiary things. And that has brought him up back into the meta quite a bit. He also has really good lane clear and really good jungle clear. You can do the red buff by himself, no problem. And that has allowed him to come back a little bit as well. Just not quite enough to break it into our top 5, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something here today. I would love to see you come join the STL as well. So make sure you join our community Discord so you can figure out how to come join our subscriber league. I promise it's really easy, and there's games going on all the time. Every day, all regions, all platforms welcome. Hope to see you in the next video, and as always, have a twitching day, y'all. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support, and have a twitching day, y'all.